Good afternoon, everyone, and on behalf of Fitness Australia, it's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar. Our focus topic for today is how to run a profitable PT bootcamp business, and our guest presenter is Travis Mattern. Travis is the co-founder and director of Fitness Education Online. He's an internationally recognised CEC provider, fitness presenter, published author, podcast host, and social media influencer with more than 10 years of experience in the fitness industry. During today's presentation, Travis will guide you through exactly how to create a successful and profitable bootcamp. Before we get started, there is some important information you need to know. You will have the opportunity to submit questions by typing them into the questions section of the control panel. We will collect these and address them after the presentation during question time. If you have any questions initially, feel free to drop them in the question box. It's now my pleasure to introduce you to our guest presenter for today, Travis Mattern.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you very much, Maddie. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Just making sure everyone can hear me nice and loud and nice and clearly. Thank you for being here today. Super excited to share with you some of our knowledge in and around that bootcamp realm. I can see we've got plenty of participants on, which is all. Maddie, everything's all good to go?
Yep, all good to go.
Beautiful. All right. Welcome, everybody. So let me just. I'm part of Fitness Education Online, and as we get into this webinar today, I just want to make sure you are free of distractions. So obviously, if you're listening on your phone, don't switch it off. But if you've got your phone, make sure you pop it on silent or pop it on mute, so you're not going to be distracted by it. Make sure you've got yourself a bit of a private space to listen. So again, you're not going to be distracted by your surroundings. And also, we've got the Q&A there. But otherwise, if you've got a notepad or anything like that, you want to jot down some notes, please feel free, because we do have time at the end for some questions and answers. So my promise to you today is at the end of today's webinar, you're going to learn some of the secrets and some of the steps that we were able to put in play to help us earn 6 figures a year running one session a day through Bootcamp. So I'm going to share with you a couple of really key takeaways and hopefully some real good gold nuggets for you, so that when you go back to your boot camp, you've got a few things you can implement pretty much straight away. Also, at the end of the webinar, if you are interested, we do have a little mini games course for boot camp. Basically, stay through to the end. You get a free copy of this, and I'll share with you right at the end of how you can get that free copy. So the first things we get asked typically when we talk to personal trainers is, why bootcamp? Why do we think it's best for you to focus on bootcamp? So, because there are plenty of options in the fitness industry. You've got one-on-one training, you've got small group training, you've got group fitness in a gym scenario, you've got online training, which is really taking off at the moment, and then you've also got things like your pyramid schemes and stuff like that, where you're on-selling all sorts of different things. But typically speaking, in our experience, we have found bootcamp to be the best thing for your business. Now, when we talk bootcamp, we typically talk about $50 per week for a bootcamp, running 5 to 6 sessions a week. If you're going to compare that to your average PT, you're looking at what, $50 a session for like a 45-minute session. So if you're comparing those two there, that's what we're looking at, $50 a week for bootcamp, or $50 a session for a 45-minute PT session. So if you have a goal within your career there to earn $1,000 a week from your fitness business, you're going to need 20 clients looking at that $50 a week mark, okay? Now, on a PT side of things, that's going to mean running 20 sessions. So like I said, if you're looking at 45-minute sessions, there's that time plan for planning, for programming, that time dealing with your clients afterwards, answering their questions, all that sort of stuff. So you're looking at 20 sessions a week, which is minimum 20 hours. You're probably looking more like 25 hours or more. If you're looking at the boot camp side of things, you're still only going to be running that 5 sessions a week. Now, if your goal is to make more money than that, your goal is, say, $2,000 a week, which is that sort of 6-figure income, okay? So that 6-figure income is about that $2,000 a week. You're going to need 40 clients. This is where you see that huge difference in your workload and your leverage. As a PT, again, you're running 40 sessions a week. Like I said, that doesn't factor in all the programming, all the planning, all the chasing the clients, waiting if their clients are late, staying behind after sessions. Again, you're not going to get away with 40 hours for 40 sessions a week on work-wise, right? But if you're looking at this as a bootcamp side of things, you're still looking at running your 5 sessions per week for 40 clients. If your goal is to earn further and beyond that, and let's say your big goal, $5,000 a week, it'd be pretty amazing. You're going to need 100 clients. Now, this is where it becomes almost impossible, right? As a PT, it's practically impossible to run 100 sessions per week. If you're running half-hour sessions, it's not a long-term strategy. It's going to leave you burnt out, tired, and really, resenting the industry almost, right? So 100 sessions a week as a PT is going to be very difficult. Whereas bootcamp side of things, you're only going to need to run still those 5 sessions a week. Yes, what happens is the time that you spend servicing and supporting your clients obviously increases as your base grows, but really that face-to-face contact time for bootcamp doesn't change a lot. All right. So essentially, bootcamp is a far more leveraged way to run your business. All right. Everyone with me there? Now, on top of that, bootcamp is just essentially easier to sell and promote than the other options. Now, when we spoke about those numbers there, if you're wanting to earn that 6-figure income, you need to get 40 people down to your bootcamp. It's a lot easier to find 40 people to pay $50 a week for 5 sessions than it is to find 40 people to pay $50 for 45 minutes. All right, so it's just a much easier way to sell and promote your business. All right, what we typically recommend is capitalizing on social media. We're not going to touch on too much of that today, but we do recommend Facebook and Instagram for these things. So things like using a page, using groups, using ads, chatbots, Instagram, they're all things that are vital in order to get your business moving forward. All right. So when we talk about using these strategies, our advertising strategy for this, let's use a 12-week example. I'm going to use a nice round number, $500 as an example that's the cost of your 12-week challenge. We would typically recommend you put $500 towards your ad spend. All right. A couple of weeks out. Let's say you get 50 leads, $10 a lead, $10 to $20 a lead is a good value there for bootcamp. If you make one sale, you get your money back. All right, so you've made your one sale, you get that money back on that front end, no problems. You make 2 sales, you're ahead. All right, you've doubled your money. You put $500 in, you've got $1,000 out. All right, so it's important to know these numbers when you're starting your bootcamp, so you know what you can put towards advertising and promoting. Okay. What happens if you make 5 sales off that? Right, all of a sudden, 5 times that ad spend, you're doing very well. Now, that's also on that front end. So it is really more than that, because what happens if those clients end up staying with you for 2, 3, 4 challenges? All right. It's not just that $500 for that first challenge that you're going to get from those clients, but you're also going to get 45 people who didn't actually sign up and didn't register for your program. Typically what happens in the industry, whether it be PT, whether it be bootcamp, when we have people inquire about our products, we don't do anything with it. So many trainers, if you're working, like I said, doesn't matter. This is not exclusive to bootcamp operators, but you get all these clients who come through the gym. They are inquiring about your products. You might have to give a comp session, whatever it might be. If they don't take you up, they're gone. They're out of your memory. There's no system. Quite often, trainers don't have a system in play to follow up with them. This is where we recommend things like Bring a Friend Week, Open Week, your next challenge, or even like a weekly workout section set up with your Facebook group. So we recommend you have a Facebook group so you don't lose these clients, all right? You want to be able to follow them up, like I said, with things like chatbots, with email marketing, with any of your other options you've got coming up with an Open Week, all that sort of stuff as well, right? And if you do nothing but follow this sort of strategy, let's say in 12 months' time, you're going to end up with an extra 20 clients, and you're going to end up with an extra 200 leads into your Facebook group who may not be ready to sign up, or they may not be ready to sign up to your program today, but maybe in 6 months' time they're ready to go. All right, so not everyone's ready to commit right away. Okay, this allows you to play sort of a short-term game and a long-term game at the same time, in that you're making your money back from your advertising on that front end. Your retention looks after it on the back end. plus you're able to grow your list and grow your database. Or does that make sense, everybody? All right. So a bit of a background on us as a company and who we are. We started in a boot camp situation, running boot camps for a franchise, 75 locations across Australia and New Zealand. Each year we were, statistically ranked based on retention and sales and a few other strategies. Now, you're probably looking, if you look at this like a horse race, you're probably thinking we were maybe middle of the pack, right? You start off, you come into the industry, you think you know a fair amount, and you're like, I think I'm better than most of those other people back there, and that's the way it works. But it's not a story about that. We weren't there. We weren't even that horse way at the back there, right? That wasn't even us. We were actually that one back there that you can only just see the legs on. That's where we were ranked. We were statistically last across 75 locations, all right? Obviously not a good start when you want to run a boot camp and you're probably sitting there thinking, well, why are we listening to you if you were last, all right? The thing is, we had a meeting with the franchise owner and we sort of gave them every excuse. We're like, you know what, we're in an area that's really popular in Sydney. Around the corner, we've got the UFC gym, we've got Commando Steve's CrossFit gym, we've got a Crunch Fitness, we've got a Fitness First, we've got Plus Anytime, and I think there's a few others. There's a Vision, all these other gyms. It's too hard for us. We're competing against all these other people, and then the owner's like, hey, look, that's all good, but so is everybody else, all right? And the leads you're giving us, the leads are no good. They're the same leads everyone else is getting. The franchise owner basically sat us down and said, look, if you take 100% responsibility and accountability, he's going to help mentor us and help us improve over the next 12 months. Our job was safe for 12 months, but we needed to show improvement because he'd asked, what have we done to improve our sales? What have we done to improve our marketing? What have we done to improve our sessions? All right, we've done the bare minimum, which is, like the requirements, your CC requirements and stuff like that. That really is the bare minimum what you need to have in the industry. You really need to go above and beyond that, okay? And our journey from there is we decided to go deep into bootcamp. We opted in for all these free opportunities. So things like podcasts we listen to, things like webinars, free events, attending all of these things. And ultimately, this all only gets you so far. And so you have to bite the bullet and get a little bit more specific help. And that's where things like working with mentors or working with more experienced trainers and more experienced people in the industry becomes so valuable. The first mentor we worked with was $2,500 for the first month, right? It's a tough choice because at that point in time, you're not really making money. You're coming last, right? But ultimately, we decided that if we wanted to do this, we needed to do things that, what everyone else was doing, basically. And we learned a few things from that first mentor, but ultimately, he didn't deliver on one of his promises. And I'm sure some of you have worked with mentors in the past and had a similar experience. They've promised you the world. They promised you, you're going to double your money, you're going to triple your money in that first month, and then nothing but crickets, all right? We've been there. Don't worry about that. And it happens. So we were disappointed, but we still saw the potential because we knew there were 74 other people working for this franchise who were doing better than us. So we just needed to keep going. So we went further. We had two choices, give up and settle, or give it another crack. So we gave it another crack and went for like a more high-end mentor, so to speak. So $7,500 in the red now. Ultimately, this time, we were able to make that money back. We made bootcamp sales. We sold our online training packages. And about 3 months later, the funny thing is some of these earlier strategies that we were put in play by the original mentor began to actually pay off. So, we ended up making that money back, multiple times over. It just wasn't in the time frame that he was telling us, right? So it's just something to pay attention to when you work with, if you've all worked with mentors in the past and maybe you've gone like, oh, they didn't work, they don't work, mentors don't work. I'm sure there's one strategy that they're giving you that's probably paid itself back over and over again. All right. So if you went 12 months later from that point, we were the #1 boot camp across all locations. We backed it up over several challenges. We had over 150 people registered across a couple of locations. We actually achieved 104% retention, which is sitting there going, well, that's actually impossible. The way they marked it was everyone who was at the bootcamp returned, plus people who had previously trained with us came back to train with us. So that was classed as retention as well. And then fast forward 5 or so years from there, we actually started teaching the same sort of strategies that we used to grow our bootcamp to other trainers, all right? Courses are registered across the world. We've continued to invest heavily in our own learning as well, attending ththings like FedEx in New Zealand, URSA, IDEA, Filex, across Australia, New Zealand, America, Canada, Campit Pro, and then also things in the marketing, social media realms, traffic and conversions, funnel hackers, social media world, to really make sure we're the top of the game, all right? And we've helped thousands of trainers now start and grow their own boot camps. All right, I'm going to talk about a couple of stories later. We've grown our own following, over 10,000 in our Facebook group, combined over 22,000 on Instagram, and I think we're on about 13,000 for our business page now as well. Like we mentioned earlier, author of the best-selling book, The Bootcamp Blueprint, presented at Filex and FedEx, have their own podcast with Jono there. People like Michelle Bridges, Danielle, Thomas Plummer, Travis Jones, all guests on the podcast. So that's the Bootcamp Blueprint. If you have not heard it, feel free to check it out. So we're ready to get into our success and what you need to do to make sure you're achieving this. The first secret we're going to share with you is how to charge what you're worth and get people to pay it. How to never lose a client again, because retention is the most important aspect of your business. And then how and why you should do it all running one session a day, okay? Working that 60-minute session a day. All right, let's get into secret number one. How to charge what you're worth and get people to pay for it. So some of the story we've already covered. This is going into that story that we've spoken about, because you're ticking the right box by being here. Attending these sort of events is one of the best ways to start moving yourself ahead of your competition, all right? Because while your competition's out there, like doing something else, you're here learning and trying to get better, all right? But ultimately, like we mentioned earlier, when you're attending some of these things, it may not leave you the front of the pack, right? Because maybe you want to be that number one horse there, okay? And maybe you want to help improve the commitment from your clients, or maybe you want to raise your rates and start making more money per hour, essentially. And unfortunately, in the competitive market, being good will only get you so far, all right? So most trainers are going to stay at that good level. They're going to do their 20 CCs. They're going to make sure that's done. They're going to do, maybe they're not choosing to extend themselves any further, all right? They're just going to stay in that good level. But if you want to be in that sort of 1% of trainers who are able to really charge what they're worth and start making that sort of 6-figure income a year as well, you really need to go above and beyond with everything that you're doing. And it isn't as complex as you think, all right? So we've already shared with you a couple of strategies that we were able to use, for example, hiring a mentor. Now, when it comes to being excellent at what you're doing, it comes down to 3 key features: the fitness side of things, the business side of things, and the mindset side of things. Now, as trainers, we basically have the fitness thing covered. Most of us are coming to the industry because of the love and passion of helping people, of being fit, of being healthy. It's something that we've either experienced as a transformation ourselves, some of us, or it's something that we've just loved doing since we were kids, all right? In my case, it's that. I just loved being around sport and activity and helping people and teaching people. That's been my main passion my whole life, all right? And the fitness stuff looked after itself. I always spent my professional development on that fitness realm because it's where I was comfortable, it's where I'm happy, it's what I love. We can run great sessions, we can have clients having fun and progressing and improving, and we're able to create community within our sessions. That's all looks after itself. But what we need to make sure we're doing is we need to really make sure we're ticking off those other 2 aspects, that business side of things and that mindset side of things, all right? Because it doesn't matter how good you are on the fitness side of things. If those other parts aren't up to scratch, you're stuck at home, you're stuck in the park by yourself, all right? Now, if you want to work on growing your business side and your mindset side, you need to adapt a growth mindset. Now, I'm actually a qualified teacher, and this is something that we spend a lot of time when I was working full-time as a teacher, trying to have children adapt. They need to adapt that growth mindset because it's no longer good enough to go, okay, well, I know everything, it's time to stop learning. There's so much information out there, and information is so easy to come by with Google and our phones and all this sort of stuff. You need to make sure that you're constantly ready to learn and ready to grow and ready to know that there's more to know, all right? And you do that by reading regularly. You do that by attending events, courses, all that sort of stuff. So you need to know there's always more to know. The second thing is getting a mentor, getting someone who's done what you want to do, all right, and already achieved that success, and now they're helping other people achieve it, right? You talk to almost anyone who's been highly successful in their business, and somewhere along their journey, they've worked with someone else, almost anyone. And that also fitness, sport athletes, they've always worked with mentors, mental coaches, you name it, all right? Not just their physical coaches. The third thing is online courses are great. Online courses mean you can block off an hour at 8 o'clock at night or whenever you're free, do that course, and you don't have to be disrupted. You don't have to cancel sessions. You don't have to give up a lot of time with your family, all right? They're easy stuff that you can do. And there are so many options. You can do online courses on your social media, on your email marketing, on your, on fitness side of things, on programming, on whatever. There are endless options, all right? And the fourth thing we would recommend is attending conventions, conferences, and workshops. These things you do have to block off time. You might have to get accommodation. You might have to fly, all right? But they are vital. Things like Philex is such an important conference for you to go to because it's just, when you think about it, there are so few trainers going to that compared to everyone in the industry. Going to that is going to open your eyes. You might see something that's going to change your business, all right? You might learn something that's going to bring you, tenfold return, all right? There's so many different options. And making sure you step outside a little bit. Yes, Philex, attend that. That is one of the best ones you can go to. We've been to some of the biggest ones around the world. But see if you can block off time. Organise a holiday to New Zealand, to America, around the time of some of these other conventions as well. All right? Go to workshops. Go to the 2-day conventions. These things are vital for your growth. All right? Essentially, all of this stuff comes down to modeling. Finding someone who's done what you want to do and modeling it so you can replicate the success. Because if you can learn what someone else, if you can learn in 10 days, what it took someone else 10 years to learn, think about the queue that you're skipping. While all those other trainers are out there trying to figure it out still for themselves, you're skipping ahead, right? That's what it comes down to. If you're able to do these 4 things, you're going to be able to charge what you're worth, right? If you can adapt that mindset, that your business, that business side of things is just as important as that fitness side of things, you're going to start to learn, you're going to start to be able to charge what you're worth, all right? If you're not sure where to start, there's a couple of recommendations here. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. These are books. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. E-Myth Mastery, all right, Michael Gerber. I Hate Selling, which is a fitness-specific book. Now, this is something that, I'm sure resonates with a lot of trainers because we speak to a lot of trainers and, this is a common attitude. I hate making sales, right? But ultimately, your life, our lives, our livelihood revolves around selling what we've got, right? So it's a vital thing, okay? So that's Ryan McKenzie. And if you want to grow your bootcamp, there's this one as well you can check out too. All right, we all good there. Ready to move on to secret number 2. How to never lose a client again. Now, retention is the most important aspect of your business. Hands down, there's no better way to grow and scale your business than focusing on your retention. And poor retention is like keeping water in a leaky bucket. Doesn't matter how much marketing you do, doesn't matter how many sales you make. If your retention is bad, you can never outmarket it. You can never outgrow it. And the easiest way to scale and grow your business is to really lock down your retention. All right? And we're going to break this down for you with a couple of scenarios. We'll look here, 2 different boot camps, round 1, 2, 3, and 4. In round 1, you've got 50% retention. All right? You've found yourself 20 clients to start the year. All right? After Christmas, everyone wants to get fit. Everyone wants to get healthy after New Year's, right? If you're 50% retention, you finish that challenge with 10 members. Let's say round 2, you find yourself 10 new members again. So you've got 20 members again, 10 old, 10 new. your retention's 50%. You end that challenge with 10 new members. Round 3, what happens? You've got 20 members, 10 old, 10 new, 50% retention. You end with 10 members again. Come round 4, you've got 20 members, 10 old, 10 new, 50% retention, 10 members. You've found 50 clients throughout that year. All right? You would think, mathematically, a 50% retention would leave you with 25 clients, right? But it doesn't work quite like that. It's that compound effect. You get left with 10 members. Now, if you compare this to a boot camp that's maybe got 90% retention, you start with 20 members, all right? 90% retention, you're going to finish with 18. Come round 2, you've got 28 members, all right? Your 18 old members plus your 10 new members. Now, with your 90% retention, you're already at 25 members. You're over double that other person, all right? Well and truly. Come round 3, you find yourself 10 new members. You're 25 old, 10 new, 90% retention. You're ending with 32 members, okay? And then come round 4, starting with 42 members, so you're 32 old members plus your 10 newbies, 90% retention, you're finishing with 38 members. This is where you can get that 6-figure income, right? We can all get those members at the beginning of the year. We know this time right now is probably the hardest time to find members. But if you hit the ground running after winter and capitalize on after winter, heading into summer and after summer, you can get 20 new members. If you can keep them, this is where you get your 6-figure business, all right? So that all makes sense. Now, when we ask people about retention, this is what they often say. It comes down to getting people results. Now, it is not just results that gets people, okay? You need to make sure you're going further than that, right? You can't simply rely on results. Retention's a 3-step process. You've got to make sure you can tick these boxes. 1, how much your clients like you. 2, how much your clients like each other. And 3, how much fun they're having at their sessions. These are the 3 key features of retention. The first one is how much your clients like you. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I can't really control that. I am who I am. But there are things you can put in play to become more likable, all right? A lot of this comes down to your onboarding process. Retention does not start in week 10 when your new challenge is about to start. Retention starts before your first session. When a client signed up for your bootcamp, contact them before their first session. Let them know where they're going. Hey, there's parking, there's a change room, there's lights, there, what to bring. Bring your towel, bring your water bottle. We'll be sitting there ready to go. Okay? Give them the instructions. Make sure your onboarding is on point. Not just, hey, great, thank you, see you Monday. Provide them with the important information. Let some of your more experienced clients know you've got some new people coming down. All right? These are all important parts of your onboarding. Getting involved with that early phone call, getting your Facebook group, getting your clients to interact with each other as well. Because it doesn't matter how good you are as a trainer. If you don't tick these boxes, your clients aren't going to really come back. One of the things you want to make sure is, one of the really good secrets we've got for this one is make sure you're set up and ready to go. So that when your clients are getting there, you're not busy setting up the session. You're sitting down, get your seat set up so that your clients have to sit near you and chat with them. As simple as that. Talk with them. Ask them how their day's going. Ask them what's happening in their lives. This is the best way to get your clients to like you. All right. Again, if you read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, it gives you a lot of these things. These are some simple things. Become genuinely interested. Smile. Use their name. Be a good listener. Talk in terms of their interests and make them feel important. All right. Some simple principles there. And ultimately, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. All right. So you really want to let them know how much you care about them. all right? The second one is how much your clients like each other. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when you rock up to a session and it looks something like this, there's not a lot of interaction happening there. Now, the reason some of this stuff looks like this is because you're probably setting up your session. So if you're out there setting up your session, your first client comes in and there's no one to talk to, no one to chat to, what are they going to do? They're going to get out their phone. What happens when that second person arrives? Well, they're probably going to get out their phone as well. And it just creates that trickle-down effect, all right? Like I said, each of these steps will tie into the other. But if you're set up, your session's set up, you're seated, you've got your seat set up so the clients are facing each other. They're not like in a line. They actually have to sit and face each other, in a horseshoe or, two lines in front of each other. And that first client walks in and you're there ready to talk to them, all right? That's how you're going to tick this one off. Because what happens when that second client walks in? You might be able to go, hey, Danielle, this is Michelle. She's new. How's it going? Like Danielle is a teacher as well. Whatever it might be. Just starting to break down those barriers because people are nervous about going to new environments, right? You've got to be able to create an environment where they get along together, where they're smiling and having fun. Like if they're not doing those things, you're not going to keep them long term. Having things, outings, team bonding, all that sort of stuff that you can do is really going to help foster that environment for your clients, okay? You do things like, your trampoline stuff, your paddleboarding, your Spartan races, all these sort of things help bring your groups together, okay? Lunches, dinners, end of challenge parties, all right? So you really want to make sure that your group is able to bond and get along together, all right? That's the second step. Now, the third step is how much fun your clients are having at their session, all right? You need your clients to be running around, smiling, laughing, and enjoying themselves. That is probably one of the most important things. They need to enjoy it, right? And that might be something simple like some bootcamp games, right? Running some bootcamp games for the first 10 minutes as a bit of a warm-up drill, a preparation drill. Get some smiling, get some high-fiving, get some laughing, all right? Because if you can get your clients having fun at the session and enjoying each other's company and enjoying your company, your clients are never going to leave you, all right? No matter what their results are, right? So if you can tick those 3 steps, it's not going to matter their excuses, all right? Clients will stop making these excuses of why they can't commit. They'll stop saying like, I want to come to boot camp, but it's a bit hard because money's a bit tight. Or I want to come to boot camp, but it's a bit hard because I don't have the time. Or it's a bit hard because I'm working so much, right? Or I didn't get the results I was promised. I wanted to lose 10 kilos for my wedding. It didn't happen. Instead, they'll start finding reasons why to attend. They'll start saying things like, you know what, it is so much fun. The money's not important. I can stop having takeout lunch once a week, twice a week to make my $50 back. Doesn't matter because I'm enjoying myself. You know what? Maybe I didn't get the results I was after, but I feel better. I think clearer when I'm in the office. When I play with my kids, I have more energy. All right? I have more energy when I'm playing with my kids, when I'm getting around my daily life. I'm not crashing after lunchtime. They'll find these reasons to attend. I sleep better. All this stuff. My head hits the pillow at night and I'm out. And I haven't slept like this in ages. All this stuff is so important when it comes to retention. Okay? Does that all make sense about why retention is such an important part of your business? All right, moving on to our secret number 3, why doing it, working only 60 minutes a day is so important. All right? Because the biggest mistake we make as trainers when we want to add value to what we're offering to our clients is that we basically work more. All right? We put in, get some free, get an extra session here, get a new, let me have a look at your what you're eating. Let me have a look at what you're doing on your everyday life. You add, and it all ends up working more time. Okay, and the problem is you only have so many hours in a day. Okay, let's have a look at a multiple session boot camp. your timetable might look a bit like this. You've got boot camp in the morning at 6 o'clock. Then you've got the same thing at 7:30. Then you've got mums and bubs at 9 o'clock. Then you're running PT sessions after that. Then you've got your group fitness timetable in the gym. All right, and you're ultimately working all day. All right, but let's strip this back even further. Let's have a look at a 3-session boot camp. Monday to Friday, 6 a.m., 9:30, 6:30. Okay, and maybe you're working that Saturday morning as well. All right, this stuff is not uncommon. And like I said, you're squeezing PT clients in between. Let's say your 6 a.m. boot camp, your multiple session boot camp, 6 a.m. is bringing you 3 or 4 people. Your 9:30 to 10:30 time slot has got you 10 people. All right? And maybe your 6:30 is bringing you 6 to 7 people. So you've got 20 people registered for your boot camp, all right, spread across 3 sessions. Now, our advice to you would be actually to scrap the 6 a.m. and the 6:30 program. Bear with me, my dog's just barking in the background. So the reason we say scrap those times is because you get 3 to 4 hours back in your life. You might lose 10 clients, right? But you actually gain 3 to 4 hours back. Now, losing 10 clients is never a great thing, but what you can do in those 3 to 4 hours, if you really dedicate yourself, can make all the difference. If you use those 3 to 4 hours to grow your business, you'll end up being able to get 20 people registered for that 9:30 time slot alone. All right? Spend that time growing your business and focusing on that one time slot. That's what we would recommend you to do. Because focusing on that one time slot allows you to service and support your clients better than anybody else after the session. All right? Like we said earlier, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, service and support comes down to a couple of key things. It comes down to speed of response. If you're comparing 2 trainers and they both love their clients. They both want the best for their clients. Except one trainer's working like that other timetable. 3, 4 sessions a day, PTs, all that sort of stuff in between. And the other trainer runs 1 session a day. Client asks a question. Client needs help. Client needs advice, whatever it might be. Any of these things that always come up with clients. If you run 1 session a day, you can get back earlier than the other trainer. And it's not because the other trainer doesn't care, just they don't have the time. All right? So it comes down to speed of response. All right? How quick you can help them. All right? Basically. Then the other thing comes down to is how much time you can spend. If you're running back-to-back sessions, how much time can you really spend offering any service or support to your clients? If you run 1 session a day, how much time can you spend? You've got that time to create your VIP Facebook group. You've got that time to run online challenges. You've got that time to offer support that they might need. All right? You've got more time to do those things. All right? Is that clear on that one? The second part is it allows you time to work on your sales and marketing so you can actually grow your business. Again, looking at those two trainers, which one is going to have that time to be able to put in? Because like we say, it doesn't matter if you're the best bootcamp instructor in the world. If you don't know how to sell and market yourself, you'll be sitting alone in the park doing push-ups. Right? Sales and marketing, again, comes down to 2 things. Your speed of response. If you can get back to a client, a prospective client, quicker than the next trainer, you're probably more likely to make that sale. Right? Obviously, obviously you need to understand sales and marketing, all that sort of stuff. But ultimately, if you can contact them first, you're putting you're getting your right foot forward. Yeah, does that make sense? Then the second part of that is, again, the time spent. Not only the time spent on that phone call, you can discuss with that prospective client about their goals, what they want to achieve, and why your boot camp or your personal training or whatever it might be might be a good fit for them. Not only that time, but how long can you do that in a day? If you've got back-to-back clients, are you going to really have time to dedicate an hour or 2 hours towards, growing your business, talking to prospective clients? If you run one session a day, you can dedicate 2 hours every single day making phone calls or touching base with clients. Doesn't matter what it is, you've got more time available to you. All right, does that make sense? And the third important thing is it allows you to upskill and further educate yourself. Read books, go to seminars, go to courses, go to workshops. All those things that we spoke about, charging what you're worth, you can actually do them. All right? As you can see, this whole presentation all ties in together. Everything backs off on the other thing, all right? Everything's like a stepping stone. If you're comparing two trainers, equal skill, equal experience, they're both running their boot camp. One has that timetable we spoke about earlier, back-to-back classes, and the other one runs one session a day. Ultimately, they're both tied on money, simple, right? And an opportunity comes up for a workshop, and the investment's $2,000. The first trainer is too busy, all right? They're not going to do anything. They stay in the middle of the pack, or they leave the industry, all right? Because they're running their 3 sessions a day. They've got 20 people registered for their boot camp, but they're working from 5 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, right? So for them to go off and do a day course, they need to find 8 covers or sacrifice a fair amount of money, plus pay the money to do the course, right? If you're running one session a day, you can actually go, you know what? I've got a cover for my boot camp. I can get one person in to cover my boot camp for today. That's easy. I can then go off and do this course. I'm not really sacrificing anything, all right? I can find the time, I can find the money, and I can start moving from being a good trainer to being an excellent trainer, okay? You continue to grow, all right? And let's say you're now competing with a bigger chain, a bigger gym. Same thing comes up. If something comes up, it's a $5,000 investment. It's now, a week course, a 3-day course, Filex, all right? A bigger investment. It doesn't matter what it is. Again, the trainer who's busy, they can't do anything. I'm too busy to do anything differently. I'm working so hard, all right? I'm not being rewarded and I'm getting burnt out. The amount of times we speak to trainers who are experiencing burnout is insane, all right? The amount of trainers who, are tired and they're sort of over it because they're working from 5 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. It's a hard life, right? But those who are running one session a day, they've got to find someone to cover 3 sessions. Let's say they've got to cover, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They can find someone to cover those 3 sessions and they can make the investment, they can find the time, they can find the money, start going on again and start moving from having 20 people registered to 40 people registered to 100 people registered, all right? And this is the most important part about all of this, is it actually gives you your life back. Because again, if you're working from 5 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, what time do you have to spend with your family? What time do you have to do the thing that you're probably most passionate about? Training. Your own training sacrifices, that brings a lot of trainers down, brings their mental health down. You need to be able to get a bit of your life back, and running a boot camp, running one session a day allows for that. All right? Does that make sense? So let me ask you a bit of a question here. So is this something that you guys might be interested in hearing about what we offer? Because we've got something for you guys. We do have a boot camp program. It is approved, Fitness Australia, across New Zealand, America. We're looking at Canada at the moment as well. So it is approved around the world. It teaches you all these strategies. It teaches you our 12-week challenge strategy. Again, this is, think about this. If you're comparing, when I first started running my boot camp, it was a Saturday, 1 day a week, $10 to come in, cash in hand. And I remember the first session that I ran, I had 15 people turn up and I was loving it. $150, my hour work, greatest thing ever. But then the next week, no one turned up. 2 people turned up. It was wet. It was cold. Didn't matter what it was. Then the next week, 8 people turn up. Like, oh, that's still pretty good. I'm happy with that. But then the next week, 1 person turns up. All right? You can't get ahead with that sort of setup. You can't get ahead with that sort of program. Compare that to what we offer here. It's a $50 a week program. You're going to get 5 sessions a week. You're going to get my 12-week home program. You can get our basic nutrition guidelines. You're going to get our clean eating recipe ebooks, our smoothie shake ebooks, our at-home abs and our booty workouts. Plus, you're going to get access to my VIP Facebook group. Some of the stuff we do in the Facebook group includes our get to know you week, our recipe sharing, our smoothie sharing, our plank challenge, plus our first excursion. We're going to go rock climbing. Then we've got our no sugar challenge. We've got our bring a friend week. We've got a walking challenge. We've got our hydration challenge. And our second excursion, we're going to go paddleboard. Our squat hold challenge, right? Our accountability week. Our fun run and obstacle course, all right? And then in week 12, we're going to have a bit of a party and do it all again. If you're comparing this program to the $10 session cash in hand, which one are clients going to see more value in? And that's what it comes down to, value for money for clients, all right? Plus, on top of that, we give you a whole heap of workouts. You look here, we've got our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1s, our HIIT workouts, supersets, circuits, phone numbers, accumulators, traps. So often when we talk to trainers, they rely on circuits, 10-station circuits. We're going to go around twice or 3 times, and that's our session. Or their alternative is a Tabata, all right? We give you the HIPT, the HIIT, the whiteboard workouts, all of them, okay? Plenty of options there. Plus, you get a lot of games. Games, like we mentioned, are so important part of creating that community bond, creating that community feel, right? Scissors, paper, rock, numbers game, hills and hollows, directions, tower circle, pool noodles. Tons of games for you to play. All these things are about getting clients to smile and have fun and enjoy themselves, yeah? Plus, all the fun little challenges, like little musical challenge, like I Bring Sally Up or Nutbush Plank, Ghostbusters, Plank Cha-Cha, Who Let the Dogs Out, Down. Look, you can find these things. You can go and Google them, right? But we've got them all in the one package, okay? So it's our bootcamp, level 1, bear with me one moment. Sorry about that. Talk about free of distractions. Our bootcamp level 1 package, 10 cc's, valued at $597. Our bootcamp level 2 package, I think level 1's actually just recently been updated to 11 cc's, $597 as well. So you're looking at $1,200 in total value. Okay. Now, if you get 1 client back in your first challenge, you're looking at $600. All right. Now, if that client stays with you for the year for 4 challenges, you're looking at that $2,400. Okay. Now, what happens if you find 2 clients and they stay with you for the year? All right. You've made your investment back and over again. You'd probably be pretty disappointed though, right? If you found only 2 clients. What if you get 10 clients who stay with you for the year, right? Is a $1,200 investment worth it? All right, you betcha, right? One of our superstars who've done our course and done our stuff is Jane. Now, Jane actually had a write-up recently with Fitness Australia, which was really awesome. She did our level 1 and level 2 boot camp for her very first challenge. She was pretty new to the industry as well, right? Planned all the sessions, right? So not only did she save all that time planning, she actually ended up getting 30 intermediate clients, 24 beginner clients, a total of 54 people coming to her program, right? For her first challenge, all right? Now, an update from her first challenge, like that was at the beginning of the year, like last year, sorry. An update on that is she basically says 8 months ago, it was an idea with no members. She smashed out our level 1, level 2. She had 53 at the beginning, and now she's gone from 0 to 120 members in 8 months. Now, that was sort of the end of last year. This was this is where the update came from. We spoke to Jane recently when we had the article. She now has like 130-something plus members, right? On top of that, she's just had her 4th child. I think you've seen her profile, there's 2 there. She's just had her 4th child. I think it's her 4th, yeah. Her business has been set up so that she's on maternity leave and it's still running because she employs 7 other trainers who work with her. All right. So pretty life-changing for her. Like I said, you get your bootcamp essentials, which covers all the challenges, the workouts, the drills, the games, the sales, the marketing, the retention, the referrals. All right. That's our bootcamp essentials package. Now, on the webinar today, the good news is you don't pay $1,200. Typically, if you go to our website and you want to buy this, you're looking at $1,000, all right, straight up off the website. But for you guys here, we've got our special offer is $499, okay? Or the monthly payment plan, which is $200 a month for 3 months. If this is something you want to go through with, we've got a link for you. It's going to come up. It's pretty straightforward, the link there. It's just bit.ly/FA-webinar. I think we're going to be able to put it in the chat box again soon as well. But if you're interested in having a look, go there and have a look at what we offer. It's going to cover some of the things that I spoke about in today's webinar. All right. We're sort of getting towards the end here now. But ultimately, we've got a couple of great courses for you that we really believe in and we've helped plenty of people achieve great results with. Under half price, essentially. Monthly payment plan options available. There is the link. All right. If you're just interested in here, you've got through the end of our webinar, and you're like, hey, you mentioned something about the bootcamp games. I just want the bootcamp games. All you need to do is message or email support@fitnesseducationonline.com.au and just put the subject webinar games, and then we'll be able to send you our bootcamp games as well. And other than that, if you want to get in touch with us, there's a few different ways. You can follow us on Instagram @fitnesseducationonline. That's sort of our company account there. We're regularly on that, sharing great ideas and great information. Or you can look us up on Facebook. We have our page, Facebook, Fitness Education Online, or you can look up Fitness Education Online community group as well and chase us up there. We're always happy to answer questions, always happy to help out. That's something that we're really proud to do, is really help everyone achieve what they want to achieve as well. All right, guys? Got a couple of minutes here for questions. So we'd love to hear any questions coming through in the Q&A. We've got plenty of people still here. So, yeah, please fire away and let's have a look if we've got a few questions.
Hi, Travis. Thanks for that. It was great.
That's all right, Maddie. Thank you.
If anyone has any questions, just put them in the box now, the question and answer box. If not, I'm sure you can get in touch with Travis via those ways he just mentioned. But thank you so much. That was a great presentation. All attendees will receive a copy of today's webinar via your email. And if you have any other questions, you can contact us on 1300 211 311. Or you can email info@fitness.org.au. I just had one question pop up. From Maria, asking, what would you recommend as a max number of clients per session?
Yeah, so basically we would recommend not running. Obviously, you've got to be comfortable with what you're working with, right? I believe there's no strict guidelines, but we would recommend no more than 20 per client per session in regards to one trainer. If we knew we were going to get more than 20 down there, we would definitely have more than one trainer. It all comes down to your experience and obviously what you're coaching. If you're coaching a skill, let's say you're coaching Olympic weightlifting, you can't coach Olympic weightlifting 20 people in one class for Olympic weightlifting, right? It's too complex of a skill, okay? So you've got to make sure that your level of experience and what you're coaching sort of fits in line. Typically speaking, we would make sure that if you have more than 20, you would make sure you have a second trainer down there.
Great, thank you. We also have a question from Chris. How do you manage council regulations at your venues?
Yeah, great question, because that's one of the things we always get asked. We actually recommend working with schools or community halls or scout halls. Basically, the venues are typically better. So essentially your council regulations, you're paying to use the park, but you probably don't have proper bathrooms, you probably don't have change rooms, you probably don't have showers, you probably don't have secure parking. So we actually recommend people use things like schools. Schools can cost $20 to $30 a session, all right? Paying for the week, you're looking at, yes, $150 a week. It probably equates to what your council's going to charge anyway, but you've got those things like your secure parking. You've got, secure parking. You're going to have undercover area. You're going to have lights. You're going to have an indoor area. You're probably going to have a change room. You're going to have bathrooms. all those sort of things that you need to have if you're running a boot camp where people are either shooting off to work afterwards or they're coming straight from work. Those are the sort of venues I would look at doing. Schools, community halls, churches as well. We know people who've run from churches, scout halls, stuff like that.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Travis.
All
All right, we'll probably wrap it up. If anyone has any more questions, as I said, flicking through. Oh, wait, we might have one now. Sorry.
Couple rolling in. Make sure you get in, guys.
From Frank asking, can you please explain your course a little bit more, please? Is it basically you teaching or giving a guide on running a 12-week challenge?
Yeah, okay, great. So the course is going to cover everything you need to put together for starting your first boot camp or growing your boot camp, right? So everything we do at Fitness Education Online, everything we do is online, okay? So it allows you to work at your own pace, okay? So it allows you to complete it at your own time, all right? So it's going to help you put together a 12-week challenge like we spoke about in the slides earlier, finding the venue, like we just spoke about as well, what sort of equipment to buy, because one of the next things we get asked is, I need to save some money before I can start my boot camp. I want to save money first. We show you how to program your sessions where you don't need to go out and outlay $5,000 on equipment to run your boot camp. Yeah. So you get the exercises, the programming, then like the actual structure of the boot camp. We also show you things like how to advertise it appropriately, how to run your Facebook groups, the difference between like Facebook pages and groups and why that is so important. Marketing, all that sort of stuff. It covers pretty much everything. If you have a look at the link, I think on the link it'll take you to a page that gives you like a bit of a written breakdown of what you get in the course as well. Thanks for asking, Frank.
Thanks so much, Travis. And one last question from Laurel. I can't make a decision today. How long does the offer last?
Look, if you Laurel, if you can send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram, we can figure something out for you. That's fine. We'll do something for you. So that's okay.
Great.
All right. So the best thing, Laurel, just get in touch with us. Let us know that you're on the Fitness Australia webinar, and then we'll figure it out for you.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks so much, Travis. I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your time, and thank you for being here. It's a real honour to be able to do this sort of stuff and help you guys out.
Thanks so much, Travis. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.